Hi, this is Joan, and I hope that you're having a wonderful day. Excuse me, and that it gets better and better as it goes on. So, you're looking at a ad from Rolling Out about Just Hilarious. Now, I'm doing this video as requested by a viewer by the name of Process Dreamer. So, I hope that you're watching, and I hope that you um, get something out of what I'm saying. Now, I had no real thoughts about Jess Hilarious. Actually, I never heard of her until the date this came out. And I kind of looked at it and just kept moving because that is kind of what I think about the transgender um, things that are going on. I think that it is basically just confirmation of what the Bible was telling you about Sodom and Gomorrah. Because I think that when we read things, at least for me, when I would read things in the Bible, I would think when I was younger that it was just there as a warning. It wasn't prophetic, at least not all of it. It was just telling you, yeah, that's what these people did back then. And when I was growing up in the Kingdom Hall, this was this you didn't think this would ever really happen. So transgender, now I tend to look at it as, well, you were told these things were going to happen. And also, to me, it's confirmation of the importance of women. If you were not important, why would people be trying? Non XX chromosome people, why would they be trying to be you if you were so secondary? Who tries to be the lesser? No, people always try to improve their conditions. So, part of the reason why I began making videos was because I kept hearing from religious organizations and people who say that they're religious, that women were secondary. I was just looking at the GOCC video, and it was a very long video. But anyway, um, the leader, Raka, I think his name, that's what his name is. He came right out and said, well, women, you just have to understand that your place is secondary to the man. No, you were here to serve the man. Now, that is the underlying view of pretty much every organized religion that I've encountered. Now, of course, there was an island called Orange or something I saw somewhere around Africa where the women rule, but they don't do it in any kind of violence. It was a really interesting video, and if I can remember the name, I will try to um, copy it or say more about it. But that is the background I had here with Just Hilarious. So I found this article so we can get more information on it. So let's go. Just Hilarious and T.S. Madison's intense debate about transgender women. Just Hilarious wants to know who will stand up for real women. Comedian Jess Hilarious was not in the joking mood when she incited a furious online debate about transgender women in America. The 31-year-old was born in Baltimore as Jessica Robin Moore lashed out with venom in response to a video post by a trans TikToker, Blessing Rose, who unleashed a tirade about the prevalence of transphobia. Okay, I think already she's being judged just by the fact that the author is writing that she lashed out with venom. Venom is from a snake, and no, most people don't think of snakes as cuddly animals, but let me continue. When the transphobia just comes out, the audacity and just the arrogance for cis women to believe that they own periods. Now, that I did hear before, and it's a very puzzling statement to me. You own periods? You mean I can give them back to you? Like I don't have to have them? Because I kind of think most women don't want them. They just have them. It's a necessary part of, well, you could even say not totally even it's debatable if it's necessary, but it is simply just part of being a cis woman or someone with XX chromosomes. So I think that if you could still be a woman, but tell men, you know what, you want periods? Here, take them, have fun. I think most of us would. So I couldn't understand exactly what it was he meant. They believe that they own periods. So you're saying that people other than women, or if you don't want to say women, people with XX chromosomes, people who don't have XX chromosomes have periods and they want to have them? I don't know. I'm getting older, but have times changed? Because most women in my time didn't really want to be stopped for 5 days or interrupted for 5 days, having to handle that. But okay, let me continue. That they own womanhood. Well, if you're a woman and God gave it to you, I don't understand what you're saying. And he's saying you don't. You don't own periods. Well, you can have them then. You don't own womanhood. You can't take that. I mean, you can't take periods. I just wouldn't mind if you did. I think I can't speak for all women, but I know I wouldn't mind if you took them. If you want to have cramps 5 days a month, hey, take it. If you could stop me from, cool. I like that. Well, he continues, you experience both, and both are different for every person. But as a cis woman, it doesn't belong to you, so you can't gatekeep it. Blessing Rose said, according to Hollywood Unlocked. Well, the thing is, I'm faith-based. So to me, it's not like, I don't know, it's not like men and women were in a war, and one of the booties or treasures of war was a period, because I don't think people would fight to have that. And as far as it doesn't belong to you, everything you have comes from God, especially anything, anything involving reproduction. It belongs to you because he gave it to you. He didn't give it to everyone. He gave it to people who have XX chromosomes. So I kind of feel like I don't even understand the post. Well, your argument is with God. It's not with the women, because women didn't make women. And contrary to what a lot of men believe, men didn't make women. But let me continue. But as a cis woman, it doesn't belong to you, so you can't gatekeep it. Blessing Rose said, according to Hollywood Unlocked. Well, cool. You want it, take it. Now, the womanhood thing you can't take, not chromosomally, but you can dress however you want to dress. And Sodom and Gomorrah, they all did their thing. So I am in no way trying to stop people from doing their thing. That expression came out really popular in the 70s, but it really does stem from, I think it's Aleister Crowley. And what he said was, do what thou wilt, that shall be the whole. Hey, this is Aleister Crowley, and his thing was, do what thou wilt, that shall be the whole of the law. And I can't remember, but somebody else was referencing him. So I had looked up some more information about him. In any case, he believed in living a brazen lifestyle. He was, um, I don't think he was transgender. I think he was, I'm not even sure what you're supposed to call people anymore. But he believed, I guess you would call him pansexual now, because he felt like whatever you feel like doing, go ahead and do it. But the thing is, he died broke and in a rooming house, even though he had lived very luxuriously. He was also very educated. And yeah, but anyway, back to the subject at hand. Okay, so raging before her 5.5 million Instagram followers, Hilarious stated, this is a very biased not video, article in my opinion, because she keeps saying that Hilarious is raging, and she's making her seem as if she is just totally unreasonable. But let's continue. Who the F is going to stand up for us? Who the F stands up for us? And us, I mean women, real women, biological women, women who were born with all the parts that you guys wish that you were. Yeah, I do believe that. Freud said that women had, male part envy. I do think it's the other way around, but I'll continue. Excuse me. When does the delusion stop? What is the difference between you and someone who has been diagnosed to be mentally insane? The only difference is that you don't have a straitjacket on. I think that at one time that might have been considered gender dysphoria or something. I don't think they would have put a straitjacket on the person, but I think it was changed in the 70s or 80s because there were so many. Now, this is conjecture. There were so many people in the psychological field who were in agreement and were participating in certain activities that were going against the grain at that time. But anyway, let me continue. Hilarious continued to rage about the topic of women not owning periods. Stop talking out your effing A. Wake up, she fumed. How are you projecting your anger on real women? Because we are the gatekeepers. We are the gatekeepers for periods. We're the only ones that effing bleed, honey. We're the only ones that can give birth. We make y'all people. We make y'all. Y'all come from us. You can't be us. You will never. You're chasing something you'll never ever get. You'll never be that. Well, to be truthful, aside from the thing about gatekeepers, if we have it and we can't give it to you and you can't totally take it from us, well, I guess that would make us gatekeepers. But I still say you could take the periods, and I think most women wouldn't really mind. You could still reproduce. You just didn't have to do that every month. But let me continue. TV personality T.S. Madison, 45, responded that she sympathized with Hilary's viewpoint, but indicated that she doesn't always appreciate the tone that the comedian adopts to convey her perspectives. And this is T.S. Madison, or maybe it's Tiz Madison, I'm not sure. Forgive me if I'm not getting that correct. There are so many real women that get mistaken for being transgender women, and that's where a lot of the anger comes from. I do hope they take a good look at how transphobia affects all women. Now, to me, my definition of woman is someone who has been born with XX chromosomes, period. Now, I know that that is not the prevailing definition, but okay. And partially the reason why I can sound blasé about this, if I do sound that way, is because I don't really care what other people do. I care what they do. Excuse me, I care what they do. I don't care much what they think. If you want to wake up and you have a male genitalia hanging between your legs and it's been there since birth, but you want to say you're female, I'm not going to argue with you. Okay, whatever you say. Because I feel like in the end, the Heavenly Father's going to fix it to His liking. And I think that He doesn't force you to comply with His will, and I won't either. If that's what you want to do. Now, if you come and tell me I have to do it, no, now we have a problem. Because just like I don't bother you about yours, you don't bother me about mine. But let's continue. So T.S. Madison continued, let me make one thing clear. I have stood up for and fought tooth and nail for black women. How to become black women? She said women in general, but let me continue. I have put a lot of black women on, used my platform to uplift black women, as well as let it be known that I am not a female, but I am a black trans woman. So I'm addressing this as such. Let me put a hashtag on it. Jess Hilarious replied, official. I have never disrespected you nor came at you publicly when you said sideways as I didn't like. I inboxed you. Your mouth don't put no fear in my heart 'cause you not the only something that I can put a read on the floor. Don't know what that means, but okay. So it's up, then it's up. But as a grown individual, I don't want to go that route because that's not going to solve none. But we can. I'm all with. Now I posted what I said because of what came out of your own experience. Every time trans women and real women unite on some good, you nor the blogs ever posting or talking about it. The moment one individual offends you, y'all automatically group us all in the mix. I clearly know that only females have periods and uteruses and have never stood on the side of the majority. But what you not gonna do is make it seem like you gonna press down on me and call me phony. Meanwhile, Twitter had its own set of intense exchanges regarding the merits of hilarious silence. I'm sorry, hilarious stance. Sims says, I stand with Jess Hilarious. Trans women, men in wigs are literally the definition of misogyny and patriarchy. It's a bunch of men dictating what a woman is while never having experienced anything associated to womanhood. CJ says, just hilarious said absolutely nothing wrong, but since we're living in the days of delusion, y'all gonna make her a villain. Nurse Tam, I don't think just hilarious said anything wrong. Only real women have cycles. WTH, how is that gatekeeping? Yeah, I have problems with the word gatekeeping. Like, gatekeeping, I don't have to keep a gate. I'm the only one who can do it or does it. But, I don't really feel like arguing something that I don't consider to be, you know, whatever. Now, the problem is that you are taking it to the schools, and there was a video of people, I think it was transgender people screaming about they're going to get your children. So that, I have a problem with. And I have heard of people saying, well, because black men are more violent, you shouldn't have black men. But I think the way the world is now, having any kind of child, bringing a child into this world voluntarily is just going to make you and that child's life difficult. And I think that that is what the Savior was saying in the scripture that I'm always quoting, where he looks at the women and says, blessed is the womb that didn't produce and the breast that didn't suck. But yeah, I agree with Jess Hilarious that this is kind of an attack. But ultimately, I feel like you wouldn't be trying to be women or arguing over what is a woman or saying that anybody can put on a wig, makeup, and cut off whatever male parts they have and be a woman. You wouldn't be doing that if women were not important. And that has always been my stance because I came from a Christian religion, even though most other Christians will say Jehovah's Witnesses are all like crazy. I think that they're probably no crazier than anybody else, but they also, it's almost to me the same as any other religion, Christian religion. The only difference is you don't celebrate holidays and you don't vote. I'm not sure if they still stand by that, but when I was growing up, they didn't vote. So beyond that, I think it's the same. And pretty much all these religions tell you that women are secondary, like the guy Rakar Shiar said from GOCC, which I do listen because I listen to him because they have interesting perspectives on the news and how it ties in with the Bible. I think you can listen to a lot of these men. I'm not trying to tear the men down. I think a lot of their scholarship has been very interesting until they talk about women in general. It's kind of like if you just keep women out your mouth, we cool. I have no argument with you. But pretty much all these religions that I have encountered tell you the woman is secondary, but everybody has to come through her. What? That nope, that doesn't equal. that, I mean, I wasn't great at algebra, but high school algebra, but I do remember your equations have to equal, you know? It's like what's on the left side has to equal to what's on the right side. And you're telling me that I'm secondary. I was only put on this earth to please men. But on the other hand, everybody who comes through this earth has to come through a body of a woman, regardless of whether you want to call that gatekeeping or whatever. To me, that does not add up to, it doesn't add up to each other. So to me, I can look at this calmly and say, yeah, whatever, because I do know that the Bible talked about Sodom and Gomorrah. And just like if you told somebody, I think we're living in Sodom and Gomorrah today, they'd say, no, no, there are a lot of straight men out there. I think it was probably the same back then, that they didn't consider themselves not straight or whatever. I think that they would have, I think that they were a nation then of pansexual people. That is, that they went with whatever happened to be around. Now, I think, like I said, I don't care much what people do as long as they aren't doing it to me or people I love. So if you want to wake to walk down the streets and put on a dog suit, which, people are doing things like that, and say, treat you like a dog, well, I'm not going to treat you like a dog. I'm just going to stay away from you. But am I going to fight and argue with you? No. No, I'm just gonna feel like keep your whatever spirit is guiding you, keep it over there, 'cause I don't want any parts of it. But do I? I mean, I was about to say, yeah, do your thing. I think that we are all here to do God's thing, but He makes it voluntary. So you can do it if you want to. If you don't do it. But the thing is, whatever you choose to do, there will be consequences, period. There is always a fork in the road, and something happens to you if you go in one direction, something happens to you if you go in the other. I cannot predict the future, but, and I hope that this makes sense. This is what I think of the debate and the issues that Jess Hilarious might be facing because of her bold stance. Ooh, I mean, I think she's right. I think that, but I also think I'm not going to argue with people over something like that. I, I think that it has made it where it is pointless to be a female athlete because men, people with XY chromosomes, generally are stronger than you, so they can come and defeat you in the sport that you have been working at for so long. I also think it makes it so that you can't use public restrooms because even though a man puts on a dress and a wig, he's still a man and he can still overpower you. So it makes it so places aren't safe for women. But I also feel like going back to the Bible verse, you have been warned that it's going to be rough on women. Cis women, I'm getting to the point where it's just like XX chromosome people so that you know who I'm referring to. But I think it's just another indicator of the end. And I hope that I have been clear that it's not that I don't care. It's kind of like, well, you've been warned that this is going to happen. You can't stop it. You can only try to survive through it. So if you have any questions or concerns about anything I've said, please let me know. Um, I'm not saying anything negative about the transgender, what is it, LGBTQs, because to a certain extent I don't care about them much one way or the other. I'm, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm an Aquarius, maybe that's why I feel like we are not a well-loved sign. But there is a part of me that's like, yeah, well, whatever, do what you're gonna do, but suffer the consequences just like everybody else. So if I am incorrect in something I've said, please let me know. Because, but you guys have a great rest of your day. And really, I think that, like I said, I think that we're all placed on this earth to do the Heavenly Father's will. And one of the first gifts he gives you is he tells you what sex you are, or at least he indicates it for you. That's a decision you don't have to make. You don't have to wake up every day and think to yourself, am I male or female today? What is male or female? Is what I'm feeling, is this the way a man feels, or is this the way a woman feels? How would I even know how a man feels if I've always been a woman? I came here with female parts, so isn't any way I feel the way a woman feels? But wouldn't that be the same with men? So how can anybody say, I feel like the opposite sex when you've never, everything you've ever felt, you felt through the sex that you were given at birth. If you want to say a sign, but it wasn't a sign by people, it was there when you came out. God gave that to you. I think that's a gift because I think it makes your life simple. I don't have to ask, what am I? God already said. He already put it right there in plain view. This is what you are. Now, if you don't want to accept that, you don't have to bow to God. You know, He does not force you, but there will be consequences. So, if you feel you can handle the consequences, that's on you. When I was in high school, there was an expression I loved, and it was sounds like a personal problem to me. Hey, you want to go out there and do your thing, have fun, okay? Well, you guys have a great rest of your day.